Okay, before I really get into the talk, we're going to have a little audience participation. Okay? So every time during my talk, I say, to which I said, you respond with, really? Okay? Now, not like a happy really, not like, ooh, really? Not that. Okay? Kind of like a really, if Dr. Duncan came up right now and said, oh, by the way, you still have one more class to take before you get your degree. That kind of a really. Okay. And if you don't remember that part, I'll point to you, and then you'll see. Okay. So I want to take a few moments and tell you about my DASH journey. It started back in 1990 when God said, hey, Steve, I want you to be a teacher and have an impact on kids. To which I said,
really?
Okay. You see, being a teacher was never on my radar. And growing up, and this is going to sound bad, but I was not a fan of kids. So that is the day that I realized that God had a sense of humor. And so for the next 26 years, I was a classroom teacher in Riverside Unified School District, living the purpose that God had for me, I thought. Well, after 26 years, God came again and said, hey, Steve, I want you to have an impact on teachers, who in turn will have an impact on their students. To which I said,
really?
Yeah, God, I'm good with just being in the classroom and working with the students you gave me. There are way better teachers out there to do this. And God said, Steve, I know that, which I kind of hurt a little bit. But I want you. And so the next thing I know, I'm out of the classroom, a teacher on special assignment in the Innovation Learner Engagement Department of Riverside Unified School District, working with hundreds of teachers on integrating technology into their classroom. Now, it was during those 3 years that I was a teacher on special assignment, God called again. Steve, I want you to not only have an impact on teachers in Riverside, but across the United States. To which I said,
really?
Yeah. God, come on now. Riverside teachers are my peeps. I love working with them, but really, working with teachers across the United States was so far beyond my wheelhouse that it isn't even funny. I'm comfortable right here in Riverside. Thanks, but no thanks. God responded, I don't care. I want you. And so now I'm traveling the U.S., working with teachers using technology in the classroom. So go figure. Now, at this point, we're going to hit the rewind button and go back to 2007. Those of you that are keeping score, this is the alumni part of the speech, okay? So in 2007, God said, Steve, I want you to go to Cal Baptist and get your master's degree in education. To which I said,
really?
You? So I said, God, this will not work for many reasons, okay? But here are 3. 1, I'm in my 50s. 2, I'm closer to the end of my career than at the beginning of my career. And 3, if you remember right, it took me 12 years to get a 4-year degree. I was not the brightest crayon in the box. God responded with, I know all about that, Steve, but I'll get you through. So in 2009, to the surprise of myself, my parents, and my friends, I graduated with my master's degree in education. But it was during those 2 years that one of my professors impacted my life and ignited a passion for using technology in a classroom that still carries on today. That professor was Dr. Karen Johnson, who has since gone on to be with the Lord. if it wasn't for her guidance, I'm not sure what direction I would have gone. So now it's 2019, I have my master's degree, and this time I thought I'd beat God to the punch a little bit, and so I asked her, hey, God, what now? Which he said, I'll tell you later. So 1 year goes by, nothing. 2 years go by, nothing. And the third year comes, and I get an email from God. Not really, it was from the School of Ed, asking if I'd be interested in being an adjunct professor. And I'm like, yeah. Well, to be honest, I had to look up adjunct. So once I figured that out, I said, yeah. And it was at this time that God said, Steve, that is why I wanted you to get your master's degree. I want you to now impact future teachers. And so for the last 10 years, I've had the awesome opportunity to work with many of you that are out here today and to those that came before you. So in closing, why did I tell you about my DASH journey? I didn't do it to boast about my accomplishments as a teacher. I can't. That was all God, little bit of Steve. I'm a living example that God could do a lot with very little. And so, rather, my hope is that encourages you and motivates you to always to be open to what God has for you. You see, God's purpose for my life never changed. He always wanted me to be a teacher. I was crazy enough to think I was going to be a classroom teacher forever. But God had bigger plans, and that was going to be his purpose for me. So as you leave today, take time to look at your DASH journey. See what God has for you. Find his purpose for your life. Live out that purpose and impact people in a positive way. Make your DASH count. We only get one shot at it. Congrats to the class of 2022. Thank you so much.